Oh yeah, my child was born. Yay!
Hooray!
I'm running on zero sleep. That's why I'm a little loopy today.
My Crumble Weebs, my name is Cole, his name is Mike, his name is Jay. We like anime, and this is episode 138 of AniPro. And on this week's episode, we are reviewing Shadow's House. This was the anime as recommended by Jalian for us to watch. So we're going to review that in the second half. But before we get into that, gentlemen, I want to talk about what made you wet your bed as a child. What made you poop your pants? What made you soil your diapers? What made you go crying to your mommy? What made you shake in your pantaloons? What were your childhood fears, gentlemen? Jay?
Yeah.
You strike me as somebody who's never been afraid of anything ever in his whole entire life.
Yeah. By far the least fearful of the three of us, I would say.
By far the bravest and most powerful.
I will now shock and amaze you, as I'm probably the most fearful child. Or I was the most fearful child of the three of us. I was scared of everything.
I think you still are pretty much scared of everything.
Yeah. I am.
And that's what you were scared of? Everything.
Yeah. Life in general.
No, the one that like vividly comes to mind was I watched the Tim Burton Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie when I was a kid.
Okay.
That is scary.
And
it is kind of a scary movie.
That movie absolutely terrified me to the point where I couldn't sleep the night I watched it.
I feel like absolutely terrified me is strong, but I could see how you could get scared.
Yeah. The whimsical children's movie from Tim Burton.
Well, like, okay, so at the the original one with Gene Wilder, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, is just like it's just a fun, happy-go-lucky movie. With, like,
except for that one scene.
Except for that one scene, but like, I closed my eyes during that scene. That was fine.
Yeah. You see a chicken literally die. You literally see a chicken die.
Yeah. But
animals were harmed in that movie.
In the Tim Burton movie, after Charlie wins the factory and everything, you see like all the bad kids walking out of the factory, and they're all like deformed and like
what?
Like Mike TV, for example, is like very skinny and very tall because he was put through the taffy puller.
Yeah.
And like that like terrified me.
Mike is Mike TV.
I am Mike TV.
He is.
There's a character named Mike TV in that movie?
Yeah, he loves TV and video games.
Yeah.
He might be me. He might be me.
Long, lanky.
Yeah.
Put through the taffy stretcher.
Through the taffy puller. Right. And then like Violet Beauregard was blue and like very very like flexible.
Because so you don't like the body horror of the children's movie.
Yeah.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Because for me, the scariest part of that movie, I think, I see, and this might be more telling about me, is I thought like the house with like where they all live in like the little house with like the 4 beds and stuff. I found that kind of scary. Like it seemed like creepy a little bit. Like there was like it was all like falling apart. It just kind of seemed like a haunted house a little bit with like sickness.
It was very Burton-y in that movie too.
Yeah.
I remember like no straight edges. Everything's all weird.
Weird and jaggedy.
Yeah, very Burton-y is a good term.
Yeah, very overly over exaggeratedly poor. Like the stereotypically poor house.
Yeah.
I honestly I don't think I've seen the Tim Burton one, to be honest. I've only seen the original, which, like I said, I used to be scared of like the Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz scared me too.
But that was because like I'd always hear like the like rumors about if you look in the background you can see somebody hanging from one of the trees.
What?
Yeah. Oh, you've never heard this before?
No. It's a class. You've never heard that?
No.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. It's, I don't know. And just those really, really old movies, like they've got some creepiness to them. They've got some like the black and white and and that movie obviously has color in it, but it's like super saturated. Yeah, it's a scary movie to this day.
It was like one of the first color movies, right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, they even make a big deal about it in the movie. Because remember, like the movie starts black and white, and then when she gets to Oz, it turns to color. Cool scene.
That's a cool cinema moment right there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how they did that? Because she opens the door and outside's all in color. Right? They just painted everything in the house in black and white. And then that way, when she opens the door and leaves, everything.
That's cool.
It's just cool how they used to do like special effects back in
and I feel like with practical effects like that, it just like it holds up so much better.
Yeah. It's iconic.
Yeah,
but
like
that's
look at
enough.
Jurassic Park, right?
Yeah, that's enough of me being scared. We'll get to that later because I have a list. I have a list of things that scared me. Not a super long list. Mike, what terrified you as a young boy living in the bush?
Well, the bush was my answer, was the obvious one. Because I lived like in basically the middle of like the woods. And like a frequent, in my younger days, a frequent activity would be like exploring the bush or camping in the bush or like just kind of being around the wildness of it all. And like, there is really kind of nothing more scary than like being alone, like when I say alone, like there's literally nobody around you. In complete darkness in the bush. It is truly like you hear things, there's all these noises, you're like, is it a bear? Am I seeing I'm gonna be wolf food right away? Like what's happening right now? And yeah, for sure. Just like the thing I thought of instantly was my cousin and I we went to the local like hangout spot because he was out for the weekend or something. And we were walking back from there, and there's like no lights or anything really, and you're just like walking and you just hear noises and stuff all around you, and you're just kind of like, ooh, okay, let's do you want to run? And then he's like, yeah, let's run. And then we ran, and then,
like the worst thing you could do if it was a predator is run.
But there is nothing. There probably was nothing. I'm still here.
It was Bigfoot.
It was
probably like a deer or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen my fair share of bears and stuff and wolves. They were around.
I'm not doubting it. I'm just trying to ease your worried mind, Mike.
It still haunts him to this day.
I can tell.
Deeply terrified.
It's not water in there. It's alcohol to dull the pain.
Yes. Straight vodka in this big gray cup of mine. What else are you guys scared of though?
Jay's
not crushing his bottle. I'm scared of Jay crushing his bottle.
That is scary. I'm going to start with one that is very me. When I was a kid, my mom had like a medical diagnostic textbook for some reason. My mom is not a nurse. My mom is nowhere near the medical industry, but for some reason she had this book where you could like, you'd look for your symptom and then you'd follow the flow chart. And then it would tell you how you're going to die, basically.
Naturally.
So
it was like Googling your symptoms before Googling your symptoms.
Yeah. You get cancer I always thought I was dying when I was a kid. I would just like, oh, I've got a headache. Oh, meningitis. I'm going to die.
Like, this is like really telling because I knew you as a kid. But not for you, but for your brother, Cody Bot. Because he still always thinks he's dying.
Oh, yeah. Cody says he's got COVID weekly.
Or like has like a heart palpitation or like just these crazy things that like there's no way. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe he did the same thing. I was too busy paying attention to my imminent demise.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're too locked in your own mind to worry about anyone else.
Yeah, he'd come up to me. He'd be like, "I got heart palpitations." I'd be like, "Not right now. I'm
on the brink of meningitis here.
I have meningococcal meningitis.
I'm slowly melting.
My eyes are a little sensitive to bright light. Yeah, no, I am. I'm gonna die. I'm dying.
I'm actually turning into a vampire."
Yeah, to go off of that, I'd be scared of needles. I still am too, though. But like, I would. Remember when we were kids, we'd get like vaccination shots in school, whether it be for like hepatitis or whatever. I would thrash about wildly while they were trying to administer this.
You're just like,
basically.
So they can't physically give you the needle.
Yeah, they managed though.
You'd grease yourself up so they couldn't catch you, and then just run around.
They had like 3 people hold me down once. I remember. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I'm a little better now. Now I go like this.
Are you though? Yeah.
You're like the guys from LA Noire.
Exactly.
I kind of share that fear a little bit too, because like I don't hate needles. But I don't like them by any means.
Mm-hmm.
And like, in fact, I used to give blood, and then I had to stop giving blood because like it just like got to the point where I'd be like watching the needle go into my arm, and then the blood start like pouring out of it, and I like basically fainted one time because I think I basically freaked myself out so much that I like basically fainted, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm never doing this again.
I appreciate and I applaud people who donate blood. Mm-hmm. But it's not something I could do. I'm too cowardly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important, and I encourage everybody to do it if you can. But I'm not going to live by my encouragement. I'm going to be a hypocrite.
I'm scared to
I'm a scaredy boy. I'm a widow baby.
I'm scared if they like take my blood.
know.
They find out that I have this like super rare disease that like nobody's ever had before.
You do. It's called Bigfootitis. I always joke. Yeah, Shazana's like she's donated quite a lot of times, and I always joke to her that like, they're just like they're like vampires, and it's just all a big scheme of theirs. They're just like taking the blood, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna help people with it. Wink, wink.
Yeah, they're drinking it.
They're drinking it. That's why they don't let you bring garlic in the building.
Oh, he's onto something, Jay.
Yeah, he's onto something. It's for the monster mash.
Jay, on that note, was there anything else you were scared of as a child?
Going back to like media and entertainment, because I think like that's where I was where I was scared the most. Mm-hmm. From Spider-Man 3, Venom scared me.
Yeah, Venom's a scary guy if you're a kid. Yeah,
Venom.
Venom,
as I called him as a kid.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he's scary. His big mouth, tongue.
Yeah, big mouth, like the jaggedy teeth. How he like distorted Spider-Man. Spider-Man was my hero as a kid. So like seeing him kind of be weird and not this like good guy, like kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, that would be scary.
Yeah,
for a baby.
Whoa.
Oh, and Rugrats. Rugrats also scared me.
That one makes no sense. That one makes no sense.
That one I'm going to push back on. Why did Rugrats scare you?
I don't remember exactly, but like there were just some episodes that like I vaguely remember being like, no, I'm not watching this. This is too creepy. This is too weird. I can't do it.
I need to know like what specifically you were like, that's too much. This is too far.
Yeah,
I could see that with like something like Courage the Cowardly Dog. But Rugrats?
Yeah. It was weird.
Rugrats is pretty benign.
Like, it's also like a very vague memory, but I just remember like putting on Rugrats as a kid and being like, nope, I can't. I'm scared.
I don't know. When you're little, I kind of get that. I was scared of the original like 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not the show,
but the
theme song.
Yeah.
For some reason, I've told you guys about
I remember you talking about that.
I think we've talked about both of these on the pod before. Yeah.
For some reason, it freaked me out as a kid. Now I watch it and I'm like, hell yeah, this is sick.
I'm gonna have to argue with you till the end of time. The 03 Ninja Turtles is the best version of Turtles.
Well, that's just because you're a Zoomer and I'm a millennial.
Yeah, but like it is regardless of how old you are. It's just better. It's just better.
No,
I think
Mike,
it's
can you say something smart to offset what Jay just said?
Cole, have you even seen the 03 Turtles?
I haven't seen
either of them. I don't think.
Shredder's like the best character. He's awesome.
Yeah, Shredder's always awesome. He's
no,
very cool.
The original Shredder sucks. He's a bumbling idiot.
Okay, well, I mean, those were the bad guys in TV shows at that time.
This is just like a means to Jay just talking about like old TV shows that he wants to talk about.
Yeah, remember on this. Remember the Decepticons and Transformers? They were always dumb, stupid.
Yeah, but they were still cool because they transformed.
Yeah, well, Shredder was cool because he had cool armor.
Yeah, but not as cool as the 03
and
one.
And they were driving around the Technodrome, which was awesome.
The Technodrome made me laugh as a kid. I don't know why. Just seems silly.
Sweet. Mike, smart.
Hi.
Something smart.
I don't have anything smart to say. My brain's too sleepy.
Okay. What about something scary?
One thing that scared me as a kid always, and I know this is going to send Cole into this, he's going to just orgasm here right away. The X-Files theme song. See, straight into the stratosphere because I mentioned X-Files. Now Cole gets to talk about X-Files on the podcast. Yeah, but I don't know. I just remember like watching as a little kid, like X-Files, and like this is gonna be a deep cut because this is an old show. But I remember,
it's iconic, though.
Yeah, I don't think like Jay, have you ever heard it other than Cole playing it for you?
I've heard it before.
Everybody knows the X-Files theme song, but it wasn't just the song; it was like the visuals of it. Very creepy too. The stretchy face,
whole package.
Yeah,
did me in for sure. And then on that same note as well, my parents used to watch like a lot of like CSI, like crime procedural stuff, and some of them were like pretty like insane for me. Like thinking about it as me watching as a kid, and like it was always on at like just before bedtime. So like I'd watch like some serial killer murder an entire family of like 6 or whatever, and then they'd be like, okay, time for bed. Lights out.
Saturday night, I remember doing the same thing because we would watch Mad TV, but before Mad TV would be America's Most Wanted. So I'd freak myself out thinking, they're coming here right now, especially when they would say this criminal could be in Canada. It's like, oh well, I'm dead, I'm going to die. And then we'd watch Mad TV and it would be funny.
Yeah.
Going off of the X-Files thing though, when I remember when I was able to like get through the theme song and realize that the show is awesome. X-Files is such a good show.
It's good. I
think this is the time I tell you I've never seen the X-Files.
Yeah,
I mean that's not crazy. I'm not going to give you a hard time about that one. It is worth a watch. Not all of it. There's a few. I don't know about that. There's a few really good episodes though of the X-Files. Like very good television. Going off of that as well. Hey, did you guys know I was scared of like aliens and ghosts and Bigfoot when I was a kid? Who knew? Who would have thunk that one?
Who would have thought that?
I wouldn't be surprised if you still were, honestly.
No, because I don't believe in that stuff anymore. Well, aliens a little bit.
Well, you still wake up
I still wake up in the middle of the night, and sometimes I'll roll over and be like, if there's one of them right there, I'm gonna freak out. But
that'll be it for you, eh?
They're never there.
Do you have those dreams that like you think you're like awake in your bed, and then you wake up and like
no.
I had a crazy dream actually the other day, kind of in the same topic we're talking here, whereas like.
Yeah, but you're in like a weird daze right now.
I know, but I only really dream when I'm in like weird sleep states. Like if I sleep, if I nap, I'll dream. Like if I wake up, or if I don't sleep for very long. But I distinctly remember waking. I was sleeping, and I remember dreaming that I was like sleeping in bed, and then the doorbell rang, and I like got up and went to answer the door, and I like looked out the window to see who was there, and there was like these like distorted face people like looking in the window back at me, and then all of a sudden the door opened and like they were coming in, and then that's when I woke up and I was like and I don't usually have like, I guess that's a lie. Usually my dreams actually are more the only ones I really remember mostly are nightmares, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can be forgiven. I'll forgive you for having weird nightmares right now, Mike.
I've kind of
thank
like,
you. I needed that.
I've kind of like subconsciously taught myself to like pinch myself while I'm dreaming. So while I'm dreaming, I'll just like pinch myself and be like, "Oh, I'm dreaming."
This guy's lucid dreaming here to escape.
Yeah, that's lucid dreaming, Jay.
Yeah.
Can you control your dreams now?
No, I can't. But like, I'll just be like, this is weird. I'm gonna pinch myself, see if I'm dreaming, and I'll just do it. And I'll be like, "Oh, I'm dreaming."
Okay.
Then, like the dream still continues, but I'll know I'm dreaming.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah,
that's interesting.
I think I know what you mean.
I know what you're saying. You should explore this deeper so that you can like unlock superpowers in that world, and then you can turn it from a nightmare to like this power fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're one step away from the OP power fantasy of my dreams.
I was gonna say, then you can become the isekai protagonist you've always wanted to be inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing I will say that I am still scared of, and it comes around when I hear stuff about like alien abduction stories and stuff. They always bring up sleep paralysis as an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep paralysis is probably the most terrifying thing I can think of. Do you guys know like what sleep paralysis is?
Yeah, but maybe explain it just to.
Yeah,
I know what it is, but like explain it so Jay can get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Someone listening to this doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, no. So when we go to sleep and we dream, our brains are working, so our bodies essentially paralyze ourselves, so we're not flailing around as we sleep, so we don't turn into Cole getting a shot in the second grade. What happens with sleep paralysis, though, is your brain wakes up, but it thinks that you're still asleep, so your body is paralyzed, so you can't move. Mm-hmm. And when you're in this in-between state, you have a tendency of like hallucinating. So lots of people report that like they feel like somebody's in the room with them. They'll see like something in the room with them, and it'll sometimes crawl up on top of them and sit on their chest.
Usually does, I think. Doesn't it usually like hover around their bed staring at them?
Yes, and it's so scary to me. Like, I'm sorry that y'all had to listen to that bleep, but like that is as an adult, and like it's terrifying, and like the statistics on it are not that rare. People say like, oh, it's like 1 in 5 people will suffer from it at some point in their life, and it's like that's too common. The world
that's 20%.
That's 20.
That's unacceptable.
That's statistically, it's pretty likely that like one of us on the podcast. It's surprising that one of us hasn't had it. Really, then.
Yeah,
I have a sleep paralysis story actually.
Yeah, Shazana used to have sleep paralysis sometimes too.
I've had it at least once, definitely once that I can recall.
Okay, and you didn't know what it was?
Huh?
Did you actually not know what sleep paralysis was? Because Cole, when he was explaining this, he's like, "Did you know what it is?" And you looked like you didn't.
So like I kind like
he knows better than us.
I kind of do, but like not as
you just
detailed
explained
as
this crazy thing that happened to Jay. He's like, "Oh, that's what that was."
No. So
Jay was abducted by aliens.
No. Yeah. So I had a dream that a bomb went off like one night, and like I was like panicking, trying to find somewhere to like get to shelter. And then I woke up with sleep paralysis, and I was like, "Oh God, I gotta get out of here. There's a bomb that just went off." Because like I thought it went off in my house. So like I was terrified, being like, "I gotta get away from this bomb."
Mm-hmm. But you couldn't move.
But I couldn't move.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
I know my sister told me about once where she had one, and in the room with her was a gorilla.
That's a weird one.
That's a weird
one.
Yeah,
that's a weird one. That'd be like, I'm pretty sure I'm dreaming.
Yeah, this doesn't add up. Doesn't add up.
I kind of feel like the like this thing is in the room with you is accessing the same part of your brain that dreams.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's what it is. That is what it is. Yeah.
You're in a weird in between state, so like you're still kind of dreaming, but you're conscious.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
like
your eyes are open.
Yeah. So you're like hallucinating something in the room with you.
Yeah. No, that makes that makes sense.
I agree, Cole. That's like top tier nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I was getting like shivers talking to you guys about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's give one last thing that maybe we were scared of as children, and then we'll move on. Do either of you have one? Because I got one.
Okay, you go, and I'll think.
Go ahead.
I got a really goofy one.
Okay.
I was scared of the Elephant Man as a kid.
The Elephant Man?
The Elephant Man. The Elephant Man, real name, I think it's Joseph Merrick or John Merrick. I can't quite remember.
J. Merrick. Let's say J. Merrick.
J. Merrick was an individual around in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and he had a series of what's the word? Issues, like physical issues, physical.
Yeah.
He was very, very like
deformed, right?
Deformed.
Is that the word?
But I was trying to think of like a more
I think he was trying to dance
politically
around that
correct.
word. Yeah.
He was a very deformed person, and as a like a 10-year-old, I would just be terrified of this freaky looking guy.
Well, and that's how like it used to be treated too, was like literally back in those days, it was like you were a sideshow thing, creature, like basically, right? And it's like even in the 90s and early 2000s, it was still kind of like that, I would say.
Yeah. But he would like tour around with circuses, and then there was a doctor who kind of discovered him, and he was able to like kind of meet lots of people, and he was studied and stuff. And then he died because it's tragic. He couldn't sleep on his back because his head was so big. So he would have to like sleep sitting upright with his head like on his knees, like in a curled up position. And then he tried sleeping on his back one night, and he died in his sleep. It's very tragic. So that I think like hearing this like the tragic aspect of it like kind of got me over the being scared of him, because I don't know, pity.
Then you just feel bad for him, right?
Yeah. Interesting movie as well, The Elephant Man. Not a very good like representation of his life, but that's like where the line like I'm not an animal, I'm a human being. That's a famous line from that movie. Anyway, I was scared of The Elephant Man. I have aired out my closet now. You're all well aware of the silly things I was terrified of as a child.
Very good. Very good.
Did either of you come up with one?
I thought of one, and it's kind of real.
Okay.
So in third grade, I learned about a certain event that happened in the 30s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was, after that, I was terrified of taking a shower.
Okay.
Because...
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty real, Jay. That's pretty real.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So did you have baths instead then?
Well, like I wanted to, but at the same time I was like, if I like, where's the line here? If I have a bath, is that the same thing, or is that like?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing might happen.
Yeah,
like
stuff.
Yeah. So like it was just kind of like a big hesitation on my part. Yeah. But like obviously I still did it because I had to. But
yeah,
I don't know. You're pretty stinky these days. Pretty stinky boy.
Thanks.
Yeah. You never got
We'll
over
have to check in on the shower, on Jay's shower progress.
Yeah, we'll check
I'm just kidding,
weekly.
Listeners. Don't worry. Jay's not a stinky boy.
Yeah, he smells great.
I thought of one, actually. It's not me, though.
Okay.
It was Shazana. She actually, her dad loved to scare her. Oh, and I think this is like hilarious. So he would like basically... There was one time, if anyone has a KitchenAid, they have the one dough hook attachment. And they also lived kind of like out of town too, in the bush, but not fully. And like they watched a scary movie. I think it was I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is where the guy has the hook for a hand or whatever. So like when she went to bed one night, her dad literally like snuck outside and then tapped on her window and like the street. And then she looked and the street light was shining through and there was a hook tapping on her window. Just like evil activities.
Yeah.
What kind of dad does that?
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny. But like he would do more messed up stuff. Like he put like a knife with ketchup underneath her brother's bed and said it was like a killer's knife and stuff. After they watched like a movie, like a scary movie. So Jay, your fears or Cole, your fear of the Elephant Man could have been much worse. You could have found an actual elephant under your bed.
I sympathize a bit with Shazana. My dad would always tell us, like, we would go into the city. I've told this story on the podcast, I'm sure. Whenever we'd go into the city, we'd for a dentist appointment, and he'd tell us how the dentist is going to like pull all of our teeth out.
That's why you're scared of the dentist.
No mercy from this man. He would tease us relentlessly. But
that's the thing, is it's funny when you're like an adult doing it, but then it like turns into deep-seated psychological trauma.
Yeah. To this day, the dentist.
So how does Shazana feel about hooks now? Like just any kind of hook in general?
She's over it. She's over it.
Okay.
She likes scary movies. I actually don't like scary movies.
I don't know.
Scary Movie 4 was good. I don't know.
Not those movies.
I like Scary Movie 2.
Scary Movie 3 is the best one.
Which one was Scary Movie 3?
The one with Signs and Charlie Sheen.
Oh, yeah.
It's 2 or 3. 2 or 3 are the best ones.
2 was good.
Yeah.
Where the alien sticks his finger in his mouth.
Yes.
And that's where they pee out of.
Which one's the one where they're arguing about figures of speech? Like he woke up dead,
more specific,
or like turned up missing, and they were arguing about how
you can't turn up dead, or you can't wake up dead. I think that's 2. I think that's 2. I think it's the same one that has the classic "My Germs" line when he shoves his little hand in the mashed potatoes and stuff.
That's my favorite one. That was
that's iconic. Two's good.
That's the most classic one for sure. They don't make movies like that anymore, like the parody movies.
Yeah, I miss those.
They really don't. Yeah,
it's because we're too sophisticated. Speaking of sophisticated, this is a sophisticated podcast where we do something every 4 months, 3 months, whatever.
That's true.
We do a listener's choice review, and because this is the first review of the new review cycle, we're going to reveal our picks for listener's choice. So to begin, before we announce everything, we do have a topic at hand this time. So the genre for this round of listener's choice reviews will be sports anime.
Dun 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 dun.
Dun dun dun. So each of us will have one, and I think we'll continue the tradition that we started last time. We'll also have just a fourth one in there because we're crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Voting from 4 just feels better. Voting from 3 just feels like you don't have enough choices. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel right. It sits wrong in my tummy tum. Yeah.
So, Mike, why don't you tell us what our bonus pick is?
Yeah, we discussed, and we were kind of like, okay, what would be the bonus pick for a sports genre? Like, what would be kind of, because the last time Kimi no Todoke wound up as the bonus pick because we all basically thought of it as the one to pick, right? And then we didn't pick it because we all thought the other person would pick it. And I feel like the obvious one here is probably Haikyuu.
Probably.
It's like the biggest sports anime. So
it's also the one people want Cole to watch.
Yeah, we have it to the point where one of our patrons has named themselves previously that Cole must watch Haikyuu or Canada is doomed. And now you have an opportunity to save Canada, as I guess what we're saying.
You, the listener, have a chance to save Canada. So Haikyuu is officially on the ballot.
That's right.
And I will announce my pick to be added to the ballot. We're going to kind of take turns doing it. So it's my turn first.
Are you going to like tease it a little bit, or are you going to just come out and say it?
No, I'll just come out and say it. Well, I'll tease it a little bit, but I will say it right now. It's from it's a sports anime. Go figure.
No way.
It's from KyoAni. It's from KyoAni. I don't have the year or anything up. Yeah, I didn't. I lost you.
You lost me.
Yeah. Well, set yourself free from your ignorance, Jay, because my pick is.
Is it Sound Euphonium?
No, it's free.
Oh.
It's free. I figured, why not give the ladies an opportunity to have some fan service?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost any
money. And it's KyoAni. It's KyoAni. And that's my pick. Free. Free. Yeah. Mike will go next.
I'm curious about that one. Honestly. What was that?
Hello?
Don't worry about it.
Did you spill Sprite all over your keyboard?
Yep.
Did you
No,
actually?
you didn't.
No.
Oh, I thought we were getting a throwback. It's been a while since someone spilled something on their recording setup.
Don't worry.
Jay just peed himself.
Just stop talking about it.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm worried about it. Whenever someone says don't worry about it, it's like saying don't press the red button. There's nothing you want to do more than worry about it. Yeah. Anyway, Cole picked a sports anime from one of his favorite studios, KyoAni.
No, you're not picking yet. We have a segment to get into, and then you'll tell us after this next segment.
Oh, I tell you later.
Yeah, we're gonna split them up a little bit. So we have this segment. Okay. You know it, you love it.
It's time for the mailbag.
Could you guys hear that?
No.
No.
Do you have such a preview?
It's okay. Just
I'll have to put it
Just
in.
yeah.
No, I don't have it set to preview.
Do you want me to do it?
No, it's mailbag time. We got a mailbag question here. If you have a mailbag question, you can send it over to us on our website, AniProPod.com/mailbag, or at our Discord. This question is a patron priority mailbag question. Wee woo. It's from Mogmog. Regarding Cole, question mark? Comment about the teacher in Kimi ni Todoke being a shonen character dropped in a shoujo anime. Can you think of any other examples of a character being in the wrong demographic or genre show? One that worked and one that didn't? Question mark. The reason I picked this one was Mike gave it the old googly eyes, implying that maybe you have an answer for it.
Oh, I did. That's okay. I do have a good answer for this one, actually. Okay. I personally believe that Jujutsu Kaisen, every character in that show almost basically qualifies for this. I think that like Gojo is your typical obvious like shonen superhero dude, right? Mm-hmm. But then you get like the other characters like Nobara. She is clearly like a Yuri protagonist. Like she has no interest in Yuji and them. She's basically like, no, I just like she would fit perfectly in a girls love show for sure. Yeah. And then you get I had a whole bunch that I thought of, and I just can't picture them right now because my brain is empty. But like, there's a lot of characters in that just like would work in other anime, and it just feels like they're kind of just dropped into a shonen anime. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the shonen. Everything around them is shonen, but these characters are not shonen. Yeah. I guess what I would say is it kind of works, but like the cast of no, it doesn't really work. I was gonna say like you dropped a bunch of no, I don't know. My brain's not really working
just
either.
Say it, Cole.
I just came home from work.
Tell you how silly you're being.
No, I was trying to come up with a way of saying that like the characters from Sound Euphonium are not in a sports anime, but it's not like they're not sports protagonists. I don't know. I was trying to connect dots and it wasn't really working.
Okay.
Yeah. So I need more time to think. Jay, do you have an answer?
Still brewing. Give me a minute.
Oh, he's brewing a nice cup of characters here.
Cup of Joe. Yeah, it's a tricky tough question.
It's a tough question off the dome.
I don't know. Maybe we could let this one breathe a little bit and see if we could come back to it. Maybe after the break.
Gojo would be like in A Boy's Love, by the way, thinking about it. He's like basically Victor Nikiforov from Yuri on Ice.
Because he
kind of the same
like
character. Him. Yeah. Acts like him too. Very, very silly and goofy. Doesn't really care. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to think about this one.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll come back with this one.
Sorry, Mog. We our brains are not working today.
Listen, Mike has an excuse. Yeah. Jay and I just dumb, straight up stupid.
Or it's hard to be put on the spot with questions like these.
To be fair, it wasn't the doc, but yes, I agree. I didn't think of it either.
Yeah. Mike, why don't you tell us what your sports anime is?
Oh, oui, monsieur. I will reveal my pick while you two ponder. So as I was going to say earlier, Cole selected a sports anime from one of his favorite studios, and it is a beloved anime. I have also done that. I've selected an anime from one of my favorite studios that I believe is quite beloved, and it has a special place in the show's heart, or the AniPro hearts, I would say. We used to call it The News. It was an in-joke between Cole and Jay. They called it The News, the theme song, the OP for this show. And I have selected the sports anime from 2016 known as Yuri on Ice for us, for your consideration, dear listener.
It's officially on the ballot for your consideration.
It is on the ballot, yes.
Yeah, Yuri on Ice. I've never seen this show.
I don't think either of you have, from what I can tell.
Jay, have you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember you guys talking about how you haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I'm interested in this one. To be honest, so far we're 3 for 3. Now, if Jay can keep up the streak, but we'll find out after the break if Jay can keep up the streak. So just to reiterate, we have
I got an answer, by the way.
Oh, do you? Oh, please, go.
Every character from Attack on Titan is a mech character. They belong in a mech anime.
Because Attack on Titan is low-key a mech anime?
Flashbacks, yeah.
That's essentially the same answer I had for Sound Euphonium. That Sound Euphonium is low-key a sports anime.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Mike will allow it.
I'll allow it, sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, Jay will reveal his pick, but like I was saying, just to reiterate, we've got Haikyuu, Free, and Yuri on Ice. And Jay will tell us.
Blank.
And Blank.
Yes.
You'll find out in about a minute. After this break.
We always act like there's a big long break, but break.
It's a long break. Yeah, welcome back to the Anime Protagonist Podcast. Oh, Mike spilled. That's good. Man, you gotta get like a sippy cup, something that would prevent you from spilling. This is a sippy cup. I know, but you still spill all the time with it.
Sometimes somehow water gets like in this little like rivet seam thing here, and then it just like I won't know it's there until I go to like sip it, and then it just pours right on my lap. Looks like I peed. I didn't pee. I promise I didn't pee.
He peed.
I didn't pee. No, I didn't pee.
We all know he peed. Now Mike's got to record this review
with pee in
Shadow's house with pee in his pants, and I have to record it with poop in my pants, and Jay's got to record it with
blank in his pants. Fill in the blank. Comment the fill in the blank. What does Jay have in his pants?
What's in Jay's pants? Comment below.
Okay. This is a PG show I'm trying to run here, but okay.
No, of course.
/Discord. Then they go to the podcast discussion channel of our Discord and let us know. PG, of course.
PG. Keep it PG.
Yeah.
Poop or pee. Poop or pee. Poop or pee.
Or maybe I'm an adult unlike you two and don't do
It's our advanced age. It's our advanced ages. We can't control it.
Or you're like children.
We do watch cartoons for a living.
Unlikely. Yeah. Honestly, we're all children.
Yeah. Jay, which cartoon are you nominating for us to watch in our...
I am nominating...
As the serious grown-up here. Yeah.
Yeah. The artiste, the artistic...
The
samplings
artiste.
A Jay Gardian.
Yes. Well, I really should have prepared this
you should
a while ago. I don't. I actually don't have a show, so I'm going to scramble real quick. And
That's not true. That is not true.
My show is...
He forgot what his show was.
A good show by Studio Madhouse, sitting at 80%, and has the genres sports, drama, romance, and slice of life. Is available on Crunchyroll and High Dive.
Okay. Crunchyroll and High Dive.
And is 25 episodes long.
Oh.
Also 3 seasons. My pick, lovely weebs, is Chihaya Furu.
And to expound on what it's on Crunchyroll in sub and High Dive in dub, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Why that's like that. Yeah.
One of those things where the licensing is all weird. Why do they do that?
Yeah.
Just to confuse me.
Like to do it. Yeah,
just to confuse me, an elderly man.
I think Sentai owns the license to the show. But
I think it's something like that.
Notice Me Sentai.
Yeah, before High Dive just like got their own exclusivity to shows, Crunchyroll got the license to Chihaya Furu, but Sentai does the dub. So that's why it's on High Dive.
Yeah, I see. It's all politics, man.
Yeah,
I feel like we've gotten better for that though. No, I was just saying that, but the dub for No-Katan's only on Amazon.
Is it?
Never mind.
Oh
I think so.
my God, what are we doing?
No-Katan's also just a weird broadcast in general because it's airing late.
Yeah.
I hate that, by the way.
Being an anime fan.
So
I get so excited when I see like the aired notification on Wednesdays, and then I go to watch it, and I'm like, oh right, we can't watch it for 4 more days.
Yeah,
but I'll still get clips of the show on Instagram constantly. So I've watched half the show by the time I can actually watch it.
Yeah, because the pirates get to it.
Pirates get to it. Our mateys.
Our matey coming for
your
your
booty. The only thing I've seen from No-Katan online is the Spider-Man 3 dance.
Yeah.
Like that. That's really all.
I think I saw her drop kick a deer in the recently, but I haven't watched a single episode yet. So
yeah,
pretty funny.
Oh, that's good. That's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But let's get into our main topic this week, our review of Shadow's House. Jalian, why don't you tell us a bit about Shadow's House? What is this show? What did you make me watch?
I made you watch a 13-episode show on Crunchyroll from 2021.
There you go.
High atop a cliff sits the mansion known as Shadow's House, home to a faceless clan that pretends to live like nobles. They express their emotions through living dolls that also endlessly clean the home of soot. One such servant, Emiliko, aids her master Kate as they learn more about themselves and the mysteries of the house.
Ooh.
And when we nominated this one, we kind of read the synopsis and stuff and went through the tags. And I think we correctly predicted that we're going to need a spoiler section for this one. So we'll say, don't worry, listener, we'll save some spoilers for the end, and we'll let you know before we talk spoilers as well. So,
yes.
This one's definitely
this one's pretty spoiler heavy.
You'd want to go into this one blind, I think.
Yeah. We'll go into a plot section before the spoilers, but that'll probably be a pretty short segment of this review. So, like Mike said, even when we get to the plot segment, don't worry, we'll do our best not to spoil.
Do you want to just move the plot section to the end, maybe?
We could do that. I could do that.
That might be the way.
Okay, we'll do that then. I didn't want to move it completely, but we can.
Yeah,
we can. Yeah, that's no problem. So how quickly did we watch this show? How long did it take you to watch this, Mike? Because you've had nothing going on in the past couple weeks, right?
This one took me, I think, 2 or 3 days, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I was joking on our patron bonus. I was watching this one while up with my child at 2 or 3 in the morning.
You should probably specify. You made the announcements on Patreon.
Oh yeah, my child was born. Yay!
Hooray!
I'm running on 0 sleep. That's why I'm a little loopy today. And I was trying to watch this on my phone while staying up with the baby, because the baby's a baby, and that's what they do. Yeah, and I'm watching it, and my eyes are just slowly closing. So I had to rewatch actually an entire episode, because I just don't remember half of the episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
Mike's the werewolf this time.
I'm the werewolf. It took me, I want to say 3 days is the answer to watch this one.
I do just want to, just before we move on and before I forget, I do want to commend Michael. Mike had a child, his first child. But you know what? Mike's a trooper. Mike's a big, strong, powerful man. And he's here. He's recording. He just watched a show. So, yeah, I think... Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah,
thanks for doing
this,
man.
I wouldn't want to. I enjoy doing this, and it's a couple hours here and there. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
No,
so I just
I am humanity's strongest soldier, though. I do admit that.
Yeah, and you do take God's most difficult challenges. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have a tummy ache today, though, so I'm definitely.
That crown might go to you then. That crown goes to you. I want to commend Cole. He had a tummy ache today, and he still managed to record the podcast.
I want one of those shirts that says "Tummy Ache Survivor." I think that those are so funny.
Good.
Yeah, Jay, how long did this? How many sittings did this take? How long did this take you to watch?
So it, I kind of like forced myself to stop because I was like, I don't want to just be done and forget about it.
Yeah.
So like, I started it like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, gee. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from.
And then we pushed it back because of Icon.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll watch the second half later.
Yeah.
And then I basically watched the second half in one sitting.
Yeah. Well, this review's been pushed back a couple times now. That being said, I didn't do what Jay said. I basically crammed this. We're recording this on a Tuesday, and I started this on Sunday. And my idea was to split it into two sittings. I'll watch like 5 episodes now, and then I'll watch the rest tomorrow. I ended up watching the first 10 episodes because I had to go to bed. Yeah. This took 2 settings. I could have binged the whole thing though. I could have done it in one night.
Yeah, same.
It's an easy binge for sure.
It is an easy binge. One thing I will say that the show does very well is the cliffhangers. You know, it's a mystery. Like it's a mystery show, which I wasn't anticipating. And it does a good job of like hooking you in. And
I would say that the mystery is like the primary genre for this one, probably. It's definitely like the driving thing, and I like the way that it sets it up. And I guess we're sort of doing a bit of plot talk now, but I like the way it sets up the mystery as like it doesn't really talk about it really at all. It just kind of leaves it out there for you to wonder, like, I wonder what's going on here.
Yeah.
And you're looking for crumbs.
Yeah, it does a good job of kind of not being in your face about the mysteries.
Yeah.
Wow, Jay, so smart.
And it always like it makes you start thinking about what's going on from like the moment one, right? Like it starts and you're like, what's going on? What like
it's so curious because like you have these people, and then you have like all the characters basically are either a shadow person or what's called a living doll. Get that right?
Yeah.
Yep. And they look identical except one of them is like just blacked out with like
they're a silhouette.
They're a silhouette basically. And you're like, this is just strange. Why do they look exactly the same? And you're just kind of wondering, you're like, there's more going on here, but like the show for honestly, I think in its better part, it just really doesn't elaborate on it till like the very end.
Well, it doesn't really elaborate on like there's even by the end of the show, there's still
so much left unanswered.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And
I think
let's pull back.
Yeah. This is as far as I want to get in the non-plot and not spoiler stuff. So.
See, because I could already see we're about to get into spoilery stuff. It's so hard to talk without spoiling.
No, it's a very spoiler heavy show. I would say watch this before. I would even recommend watching this before listening to this. I would say pause this, go watch the show.
I had to forcibly stop myself from watching season 2.
Yeah, a little bit. It's okay. No. Let's move on.
Yeah, move on. Characters.
Let's start talking about characters. So of course we've got our two leads. We've got Miliko. Hilarious name. I love it. And she is she's a
bundle of sunshine.
Just a bundle of sunshine. They even call her Sunshine in the show. Yeah. She's very naive, but like naive, but also like brave. I don't know like how to explain it. Like
I know what you're trying to say, Cole.
Yeah.
Like she
a lot of naive
this, like,
people kind of are cowardly,
but like in a way where like I guess more along the lines of ignorance. If that makes sense. Where like she wants to know more. She knows that she doesn't know more. Or know a lot about what's going on, but she wants to like about her reading. Yeah, I guess that's not really a spoiler, but like
that's like
it starts off
2.
and she's like, I want to learn my letters.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to read.
Yeah,
so we should also specify Miliko is a living doll. So these are individuals created by the shadow people to essentially be their servants, their
servants, and also their faces.
Their face. Because they're shadow people, they have no faces, so they go around with these living dolls who look like them, and the living doll's job is to kind of like express what they're feeling.
They're like literally like a basically walking emoji for the shadow person, basically. Like they just emote for them.
Yeah. So Emiliko's shadow person is Kate. So she's kind of the antithesis to Emiliko, where she's like a little
reserved.
Reserved. I don't want to say cold, because like she really warms up.
No.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess that has more to do with her character development than her character exposition, because like she does start off a bit more like aloof.
Yep.
And like as the story goes on, she warms up more and more to Emiliko.
Yeah.
And she's definitely one of the most interesting characters in the show, just because a lot of the mysteries seem to revolve around her. Like she seems to be, I mean, she's the main character, right? So like you're trying to figure out why she's so important as part of the mystery of the show.
Yeah.
There's lots of shadow people in this.
There is. Yeah. There's a whole cast of shadow people, and they live in this big mansion.
The Shadow's
house. But like there's this kind of like hierarchy of them. And it's revealed. I guess this is kind of important to the characters, because this will introduce us to the other characters. It's revealed that the Emiliko and Kate are kind of like uninitiated shadow people and living doll. They have to go through this like ceremony to become full-fledged, and
it's like a coming of age type thing, kind of is how I describe it.
Like there's like a debut thing that happens.
Yeah, it's the tuning exams, except Shadow House, basically.
Essentially, yeah. So then that introduces us to the other shadow people and the other living dolls. Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll kind of introduce them in their pairs, and it kind of makes you realize how close all their names are. So John is a shadow person, and his living doll's name is Sean.
Yeah.
John and Sean. And they're kind of, how would you describe their dynamic? Well, they get along for sure. Sean is kind of like a very quiet.
They're basically the opposite of Emiliko and Kate, whereas like in this one, the shadow person is quite
boisterous,
bubbly, and Genki kind of. I find in this one, Sean is basically like Kate, and then John is basically like Emiliko, in my opinion. Like what we just said about them, basically flip it for these guys.
Yeah, there was like a whole thing where Sean like clearly needs glasses because he can't see, but he chooses not to because he wants to be more like John.
Yeah. And I'm just slow, but there is kind of that dichotomy often between the shadows and their dolls. Like Sean and John are kind of opposites. Emiliko and Kate are kind of opposites.
Yeah.
Luis and Lou are next ones, who are both played by the great Ayane Sakura. I love her. And Louise is like very full of herself. So of course she's just obsessed with this creature that looks just like her.
It's pretty endearing. I find it quite endearing. Like she's always just like, oh, I love Lou. She's just the best. And then like, just like, they're always like hugging and stuff. Yeah. But they're also like a little she's a little bit Hime-dere a little bit.
Big time.
Louise,
big
right?
Time. Yeah.
Whereas Lou is kind of just more kind of like, okay, I'll just go along with it.
Very Hime-dere and Kudere.
Which one of my favorite things about this show is the relationships between the shadow people and their living dolls. I think like because of how their personalities are and how they're like a little bit opposite, they mesh together in a great way.
Yeah.
You get like really cool character interactions in this show just because there's like quite a wide cast. And I feel like none. I watched this one dub, by the way. None of the.
No, we'd get to that.
Oh, sorry. None of the voice acting I found bad either, which is surprising for a show with the cast this big.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, and I am curious, the sub, of course, Jane, I watched subbed. All of the shadow people and their living dolls are played by the same person. -1, which I was going to get to.
We'll get to in a bit.
Well, I mean, you could look up the credits.
Yeah.
It's Kate and Emilico are both played by different people. All of the other ones are all played by the same voice actor. Yeah. I'm curious in the dub, is that the same, Mike? Is it the same? I don't know. No, hold on. I'll answer my own question right now.
Yes.
Question. Yeah, I was about to do that.
I'm sure.
Yes,
I'm sure it is.
The answer is yes.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. The answer is yes.
Yes, they are. Yeah, and it's the same thing. The leads, our two mains are different people, and I think they did that just to differentiate. I don't necessarily look too deep into that. I think it's just so that we have a distinct Emilico and a distinct
I think
Kate.
there actually is a plot relevant reason for it, but we'll get into that in a bit.
Maybe. Yes. So the next pairing would be Patrick, the shadow, and Ricky, the living doll. Patrick, Ricky, Patricky.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yep.
Got it.
Got it. Gone.
The redemption arc. The characters who start off as just you hate them, and of course this is anime. You know what happens. Exactly.
Yeah, it's not that deep.
It's not that deep, but I really like their development to go from like the very snooty type to reluctantly on good terms with everyone, I suppose. You know the type. And then our last pairing, our last main pairing, would be Rum and Shirley, which, of course, their names aren't anywhere close to each other, and there's reasons for that, which get revealed through the show. But I love Rum a lot. She's the best.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
She's very like very timid, I'd say. Is like
she's
her
like
whole
a shy, reserved girl.
Yeah,
but she
Shirley does not speak or really have any personality at all for the most part.
No, Shirley really doesn't. But they have such a good scene towards the end of their arc.
They do.
It's very impactful. And Rum just has a great grow up, great development for Rum. So what about the voice acting? We kind of touched on that a little bit. Mike, you enjoyed the dub. You said that the dub was good.
Yep.
In spite of it being a large dub cast. I would say the same thing with the sub.
I probably agree.
I didn't have any issues with anybody. Everybody really played their parts well and played like two separate parts. Like, I mean, again, Luis and Lou being so... I could see that being like a difficult... Like, Luis is very like boisterous and loud and bubbly, where like Lou is very quiet and reserved, but it's the same voice actor. They did a good job.
And I think that the choice that they made to do that, where like they voiced both of them, was a very interesting directorial choice. And it pays off well. Yeah, I agree.
For sure. Yeah.
The other thing too that I just want to point out with the characters side of things is like the character design. You have to make sure when you're doing a show like this that everybody has a very distinct silhouette.
Yes.
It's the Simpsons character design motive. You want everybody to be recognizable because everybody has to be recognizable. Half these characters are literally just silhouettes.
Yeah.
So everybody has to have a very distinct outline. And
I think it works pretty well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does. I can't give it.
I forget which mangaka I saw. They were talking about this where like when I think it was the Delicious in Dungeon mangaka, actually. They were talking about how when they draw their characters so that you can tell who they are from behind in different clothing. And I think that's kind of like a similar thing to what they did here, where they made sure the characters are distinct enough that you know them, really know just by just their silhouette, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a cool thing to do, and it helps you remember them for sure.
Well, it makes characters iconic, right? I mean, you guys diss on Darth Vader all the time, but he has a very distinct silhouette, and that helps to make a character like that iconic. And I mean, The Simpsons, Matt Groening always talked about like, he wanted his characters to be, if you just saw a silhouette of them, you know. And I mean, this is that.
This is that
literally
theory.
that.
Yeah.
This is that if they had the subtlety of a truck.
Yeah.
Anime lends itself to be more complex with its characters.
But like for two characters like John and Patrick, who are kind of similar characters, when you really like, if you were just to show the two silhouettes of them, you can still tell them apart, which I think kind of says something.
Well, and all of the characters have a distinct like color palette as well. Like Kate's red, Louise's
Everybody's
yellow.
pretty bombastic in their clothing, especially like Edward, who comes in later in the show.
Oh yeah, his
suit was insane. Yeah, it's like a yellow and gold suit with like the swirly patterns.
Yeah. I think they even comment on it at one point. They're like, only Ed would dress in such
a showy.
Last thing in the characters, I think we should discuss best boy and best girl.
Okay.
Yep. So I already played my hand with best girl. I think Rum's the best. I just loved her like development through it, and like going from like somebody who is too scared of everybody to being friends with everybody. She's my girl. Jay?
Rum seems like the character that would probably get me more by season 2. But season 1, she kind of needed a bit more for me.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, she wasn't in it quite enough.
But that said, I have to go with Emilico. She's a bundle of sunshine.
Yeah.
Just like so charismatic. A joyful wonder of the world. And I
wonder of the world.
Like she has a wonder, like she wonders.
She is wondering. I see. Yeah. I thought you meant like she is a wonder.
No, she has a wonder for the world.
I get it.
Gotcha.
And just I think that she's a great protagonist.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, Mike.
I really like Emilico too, but I really feel like Lou kind of stole my heart a little bit. I don't know that the whole. I feel like you kind of have to lump a lot of the shadows in with, like, if I said Kate, it's kind of, I mean, her and Emilico are quite different, but if I said Lou or Louise, they're kind of a pair.
Yeah.
You almost need like a duo of best girls here, but I'm going to go Lou just because like, I just love the scenes of her like cruising around a labyrinth, chopping through, like just the way she handles herself is so like carefree and just interesting.
Lou probably would have been my second pick. Yeah.
Well, we all picked living dolls. The 3 main girl living dolls.
I mean,
do we want? Yeah, we could pick our favorite shadow.
Yeah,
sure.
And I'm going with Louise. She's awesome. I think she's so funny. How full of herself she is. And I mean, hey, we all know I'm a Himedere, so I got to represent. I got to go with the people who represent my people. You know.
Yeah.
Jay.
I think Kate, in terms of development, would probably be like my favorite, just in terms of her development throughout the series. But if I were to look at just straight which personality did I like the most, I'd have to echo Cole with Louise. Just so much personality and
so charismatic.
So charismatic.
Just so over the top too. Is like, speaking of over the top, my brain is not working. I was going to say one and then I realized it's a boy. That doesn't help at all. Best girl. So I really get to choose between Louise and Kate then.
Essentially. Yeah. Shirley's got one good scene.
Shirley, I'm sorry. Great character. Not really.
Sorry, Shirley fans.
Sorry, Shirley. Yeah. The one person
Shirley,
out there's
like, there's more to Shirley than meets the eye.
Shirley.
Yeah. I'm going to go, I'll go Kate. I like Kate.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the moral of this is there is no wrong answer in this case.
No, they're all good characters.
Except for Shirley. Except for Shirley.
Honestly, you know what, Cole? I'm going to push back on that. #, justice for Shirley, and we'll talk about that in the spoiler portion.
Yeah. Well, now let's move on to best boy. For me, I'm gonna actually start off with my shadow. I'm going with John. I think John's so funny. He's just a doofus. He's just a well-meaning idiot, and I love him for that. It's good. Yeah. Jay,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead, Mike. If you had a question, I will gladly...
No, not a question.
A statement?
Yes.
Statement. Go ahead.
I was
just
going to say John would be mine too as well. Because I just loved his whole vibe. Yeah. He's so silly and goofy and over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, again, how he pairs with his like living doll is great. Because, yeah.
Jay?
Sorry, Jay.
I'm going to go off the beaten path for this one and pick Edward.
Edward's great, too.
He was a great character for this arc.
Yeah, he's a good foil. Yeah.
Such a great foil. And
interesting, like, motives for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what he's doing, I can see how somebody like him, like, he's not just evil, he's doing what he thinks is best for his world that he lives in.
Mm-hmm. There was, like, this one shot in the show where, like, you see his eyes and they're like open wide, and it's just the, like, kind of the swirly black but like also a bit solid. Just so spine chilling, and I loved it.
Yeah No, and like I love the scene too where he's like playing piano and all of the pairs go up and do the thing, and he just kind of like finishes and then like has a little hissy fit and just throws, like, takes the one up from that high level and then just throws him in the lower one with no explanation. We get an explanation later on.
Yeah.
But.
No, yeah, he's great. He's funny because he's just like so dramatic. He's such a drama queen. It's just great.
Yeah. No, I like Edward. Yeah, that's a good pick.
That's a good pick.
There's really only like two. We can skip over the second pick for the boys. Incidentally, mine would be Sean. No, Ricky. I like Ricky. He had a good.
I would pick Sean. Sean's a good boy.
Yeah,
and also pairs really well to Miliko.
Do you want to throw a second one out there?
I'm gonna go with Granddad. I'm gonna go with Granddad.
Nice.
No, nice. Who's the dude who like keeps curb stomping people when they're talking to Granddad there?
It was Ryan. Ryan is his name.
I like Ryan. Ryan's funny. Let's go Ryan.
Yeah, he's just mad. He's just mad all the time. I see a lot of myself in
I didn't
Ryan.
pick a non-shadow.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know who to pick.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Let's move on to the production of this show. So this is from Studio Cloverworks.
Yep.
We love Cloverworks. We love our Cloverworks here on AniPro.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This show was well animated, I would say. It's not flashy per se. Like there's no like real moments of like, oh my God, you're not getting ufotable here with this one, but it's more than serviceable. I would say this is well above average.
Yeah.
I would say it looks good for sure.
Yeah,
it's a good looking show.
I think there are some moments where I'd go like, oh, that looks pretty good. Like not, oh my God, eyes wide, standing up, applauding whoever animated it. But,
bravo! Bravo!
No, throwing flowers down at the actor on stage. But it like there are still some pretty decent Sakuga moments, I'd say.
Yeah, there are.
I would say about this one that the studio, like, they kind of picked and chose their spots well. Like the points where they didn't need anything too mind blowing, they kind of did a good job of having it just like an interesting enough image that you're still interested in what's happening. But like the moments where they really needed that Sakuga or like that extra bit to kind of push the scene a little bit further, they picked and chose their battles really well, and like the moments to use that Sakuga.
And it feels like they knew their story, and that the story, like, they don't need animation to necessarily carry that story.
Yeah. One thing I just to be critical, because we do have to be critical.
Yep. I have some things to say too. So.
The 3D animation in it sometimes was a bit jank. Specifically when Edward was playing piano and it would show his hands. It's like, okay, they weren't quite at Bocchi the Rock quite yet at Cloverworks. I mean, it wasn't enough it took me out very momentarily because it would move on to something else. And they were just insert shots anyway. Like I wouldn't hold it too much against the show, but if I'm being critical.
I mean,
we all three of us noticed the same thing. So it must be noticeable at least, right? It's definitely a good thing to bring up.
I would just say they do it all the time with piano in anime. And you don't have to like rotoscope in the piano. Like if it's okay, they don't need to be playing the exact notes.
It makes
you know
me
what I
think
mean?
It makes me think of Shirobako, where the show talks about horses and how like very few people in the industry can animate horses naturally. So they they'll always bring in a guy to do
the horse
animation.
guy. Yeah.
It's funny the things that are like hard to animate, and I think hands are one of those things that are hard to animate. So that's probably why they rotoscope often.
Yeah. Well, this one was CG for sure, but
yeah. The other thing that I found kind of not, for the most part, it looks good. And then there's a few moments when it just kind of like looks a little funny. And it's things like Kate's dress or Edward's suit that he wears. They have this like kind of crazy pattern to them. And the pattern,
it's an anime.
I don't know.
I know where you're going with this.
It looked funny to the point where like Shazana came down and she was just like talking to me as I was watching an episode, and she's like, why is it like, what's going on with that? And I'm like, basically the pattern doesn't move with the suit. It's like a flat texture.
Yeah.
So like when the character moves, it just takes you out of it just a little bit, because like, you're like, oh, that should wrinkle or something, or that should go around the corner, but it just doesn't.
It happens in anime all the time. It's very noticeable with especially somebody like Edward, whose suit is so like bombastic. But
that's right.
I would say like next time you're watching like your slice of life high school romance show, look at the girl's skirt. If it's got like a plaid pattern on it, it does the same thing. It's just less noticeable in something like that. But it is very noticeable in the show because of the fashion of it.
Yeah, and it's a really like it's a cool looking show. Like the style choices that they chose, and I'm assuming is this based on a manga or something, or
it is. It's based on a manga.
Yeah, and I'm assuming those are pulled from it, but it probably stylized a little bit more. And for the most part, this show looks great. I just think that there's a few things where maybe they just skimped a little bit, and it just kind of takes it's all in all. It detracts from it, but not enough to make it a bad show or like a bad looking show is what I would say.
Oh yeah. I would agree 100%.
There was one thing that like, I don't know if I was overthinking it because it was an intentional thing or not, but the shadowing in this show was a bit off, as weird as that sounds.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Because there were times where I was looking at shadows and I was like, is that intentional or is that just an oversight? And the more the show went on, I think it was an oversight, but I'm still not exactly sure.
Okay. I feel like part of this is that like this show, like I said at the beginning, it leaves you like searching for the mysteries and looking for breadcrumbs and clues, that you're like paying so much attention to the little details that you're kind of like, oh, that looks weird.
Yeah.
Or this looks funny. Whereas normally you might have been more in like just an autopilot mode.
Yeah.
I can elaborate more on the shadow thing.
Yeah,
in the spoiler section. But again, so much of this show is spoiler charge that just
to go back to like well done stuff. Not all of the CG in the show is bad. Like, I mean, the soot that emanates from the shadow people looks good. So I wouldn't say like the CG in it is bad. It was just like
or like the scorches too. Look
the scorches look cool. Yeah. Very very Ghibli. Very Princess Mononoke. I would say that it looks pretty good despite our complaints. OST, the music of the show, which, you know what, I'll let you guys go first. Jay, what did you think of the OST on this one?
I am a little bit mixed, but like leaning toward positive on the OST. I think that overall it does a good job of accenting the vibe of this show, the like noble yet still unnerving tone of the ambiance is there. The biggest criticism I'd have is I noticed the same song being played multiple different times.
It's called a leitmotif, Jay.
Yeah. I mean, that's a choice, right? They're doing that to emphasize, I think.
Yeah, but if you notice it, then
yeah. I don't have too many thoughts on the OST on this one. I thought it was pretty forgettable. I didn't think it did anything to blow me away, and I didn't think it did anything to harm the show either. It was just kind of like, here is music to this show, and I don't think they went the extra mile in any way.
Yeah. I'm actually probably pretty cool on the OST, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I made an effort to kind of like it reminded me musically of Ancient Mage's Bride, which you guys both know I think is anime's best OST. This one to me wasn't as good, and I think it was because of the usage of the OST at times. Mm-hmm. We'd be in like a suspenseful scene or a scene where a character is like trying to find clues. So you would expect the music to be very like dramatic. And the music's kind of like this like happy, like, I don't know, like this major keyed song, and it just didn't jive with me. Like it felt like this doesn't quite
I think that
fit.
might have been the point.
I kind of push back on that, because to me those music points seem more like an inquisitive song rather than like a dramatic thriller like song.
Yeah, I mean, like it just felt like if I'm watching this and I'm hearing music like that, I feel like there's nothing that is at risk, right? Like if I hear a song and it's very like do 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 do, I'm kind of like, okay, well they're doing their thing and there's like no risk involved in this.
Yeah.
Where if you hear like a very suspenseful song, you're like, oh, okay, we're like, I don't know. It didn't convey the feelings that I feel like it should have.
And I believe that was like a choice that they made, that because I feel like from the perspective they wanted you to watch this show, is that here is this seemingly great world that they live in. Mm-hmm. And then there's just like enough tension there that it's so subtextual, all the tension, that they chose to keep the soundtrack kind of light and bubbly.
I could see that.
The darker stuff kind of just filters in through the cracks. That's a good
like meta analysis of it.
That's how I saw it anyway.
It also seems like the tension is kind in the show for me, in terms of OST, was kind of leaned toward the end half of the show.
Definitely.
Where things kind of ramp up to 11, and
I will say the scene I'm specifically talking about is in the end game of the show. Where I would expect the characters to be having this sense of urgency, as opposed to like, well, here I go solving this mystery. Like I thought the character was supposed to be very like concerned about somebody else, and they're kind of just do.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's which scene you're talking about, and I don't like at that time. I don't think they really felt a sense of urgency.
Maybe. I'm going to make a note here for the spoiler section. I'm going to just put music, exclamation point. Let's move on, though. Let's move on to the OP and the ED. So the OP of this show, I'm going to be honest with you boys.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea.
Stanky.
Didn't like it.
Can I? Yeah. I honestly, Cole, I'm curious if you agree with me on this. And do you guys think that the OP and ED were like flipped for this one? Like the ED felt more like an OP, and the OP felt more like an ED to me.
Musically, yes, I would agree.
You know what I mean?
To me, the OP felt like they had a song that they wanted to get for the show.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't get it in time, so they had to scramble to get a song for this OP.
So then some guy sat at his keyboard and just made some MIDI music.
We got the Evangelion replacement to Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah, the thing that I noticed, and I couldn't unhear it, was like it was clearly a MIDI patch on a keyboard, because the choir, like the would do the exact same notes as like the orchestration underneath. And like no human on earth can hit notes that precisely and that like rapidly. So it's like clearly that's just somebody at their keyboard making it. I like that. I wouldn't be surprised if what you said, Jay, is what happened. If they couldn't license the song that they wanted, and they had to like make one quick.
At the same time, though, I think visually it's pretty interesting. Like there's that one shot of Kate in that river of darkness with the hands coming up and trying to pull her down, or like the where Kate and Emilico are standing at the mirror and it's turning around.
Oh, there's cool stuff in the OP. It's just, of course, when we watch an OP, and I try to separate the two, but it's difficult. And in this case, it was especially difficult. The music choice in this just didn't hit for me. But echoing off what you said, like there are cool elements in the OP visually.
Yeah, I think they both had cool elements for sure. But
the ED is I dig the song for the ED. It's
I
cool.
love the ED.
I thought it was your girl Aimer, but it wasn't.
No, it's Riona.
Yeah. They sound very similar. I was surprised when I saw like the name of the artist come up. The ED is cool. It's very visually ED, like very mostly still images, panning. There's a few animated spots as well, but the song is what makes that for me. It's a cool song. I'd put that on my playlist for sure.
Yeah, the song was banging for sure.
So, yeah.
I like the visuals of the ED better too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about it that kind of did it for me.
I think overall the ED is just better than the OP. I don't hate the OP. Like, I think I'm less, or I'm warmer on the OP than the two of you are.
Yeah.
But the ED
like
is definitely better.
6 or a 7 out of 10 for me type of thing. Like it was fine. I watched it a few times, but it was pretty skippable. Is what I would say.
Like I said, I'm a stubborn person, so I just kept hearing the choir and the music, and then being like, "This is," I couldn't get that bone out of my.
But you probably also like purposely were like, "I want to hear it so I can get mad about it again."
maybe subconsciously.
Maybe that's what. Maybe that says something about the OP in and of itself. It made you want to hear that choir.
You know what?
Maybe.
That's true. Just going off of the ED and the visuals of it, I think it really does a good job of kind of like emphasizing those color palettes for the different characters. Like Kate and Emily Co are bathed in red. John and Sean in blue, etc., etc. It's
and anime does that all the time, where the characters have their color. Like, it's a super common thing, but it just works really well in this because it's the contrast to the shadow people with the colors, and the colors are the contrast is so heavy that it just pops, and you can't, just super recognizable.
So plot would be the next thing, but I think like we said, we'll kind of move that to spoiler territory. What I will say though that is related to plot is maybe we could talk about themes, messages in this anime. I think individuality would be kind of the big theme in this. The human dolls are supposed to be very like passive and not individualistic at all. They're just supposed to do what their shadow person says, where Kate and Emilico are very individuals. They don't do that. And I think that would be like the big theme for my monkey brain to pick up on. Jay, you're a literary analyst. What themes did you pick up on?
The one that kind of came to my mind, aside from the individualism, which is kind of the obvious one, but question the hierarchy was one for me in a very
eat the rich.
I could see that for sure, because it's definitely like a show about questioning everything, I would say. And it's just, I think you two have basically hit the two themes. It's kind of it's honestly for a show like this where I feel like when I went into this, I expected to be like pretty heavy handed with the themes and messages, but it's just kind of really not. It's subtle, and there's not many, honestly.
At the same time though, this first season seems more of an introduction to what the actual plot is than
that's true
than the plot of the story.
This does feel very like epilogue or prologue.
It feels like they've, at the end of this season, basically just set up the world for the most part.
I just want season 2 to just be better.
Yeah. I do just want to say that this show, I had no idea that this show was like this. I didn't know anything really about Shadow's House before starting this, other than like what the characters look like, and that some of them are shadow people and some of them are normal.
I'd always assumed it was like a lot more cutesy than this.
Yes, exactly.
Just because the character designs are so cutesy.
And then I started watching it, and it turned into like this very like house intrigue, mystery, borderline political thriller, kind of, I would say. So it's up my alley. I'm here for it, I would say. But
So
yeah,
are we gonna do final thoughts now, or are we gonna do it after the spoilers?
we'll do final thoughts.
Yeah, do it before, because then
People
if people
can,
want to stick around for the spoilers, they can.
Or did we want to do like recommendations now?
That's the next
comparisons,
thing.
recommendations is the next one.
Comparisons, recommendations. I would say, and I've mentioned this one already. Ancient Magus Bride. I feel like the theming of this is very similar.
He's a shadow person too.
Essentially, yeah.
Elias
is essentially a shadow person. Where one person is kind of the layman, the everyday person, and the other person is introducing them to this world of stuff. It's the show isn't magic, but kind of supernatural.
It is fantasy. Like it's a fantasy story.
Yeah, so that's kind of the big one that stood out to me.
Interesting, because I had a really big one as well, and I thought you were going to say it, but you didn't. And for me, the big one that stood out the whole way through was Promised Neverland.
That was what I was going to say. Yeah.
That's. I feel like that's the obvious one where it's like, if I were to explain this to a coworker or something, like, okay, what's the show like? I'm like, do you like Promised Neverland? How it's kind of like there's something going on, but you don't know what, and then it just kind of like hits, and you're like, oh, okay. That's the vibe of this show. It's like a more cute and bubbly Promised Neverland, in my opinion.
I would say Promised Neverland kind of pays off quicker than this does.
Yes.
Like you find out the mystery of Promised Neverland.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turns into like a cat and mouse thing, where this is like mystery through.
It's dropping crumbs all the way through.
Yeah.
It's paced a lot slower too. It's not paced like a Shonen Jump. Like here's everything happens super quick, and then let's get to the action. This is more of a slow burn mystery.
Well, this is based on a seinen manga, whereas Promised Neverland's a shonen manga. So,
like what Mike said, I would agree with that. I would say if you like Promised Neverland season 1, season 2 doesn't exist. Check this one out.
Yeah,
that's a good recommendation. Yeah. Jay, do you got one?
The other one that jumped to mind immediately because just from the vibe is Toilet Bound Hanako-kun.
Okay. Yeah. That checks out.
Just like the different mysteries of the place they're in, kind of figuring that out. It's not like I'd say that this is a much better show than Hanako-kun.
I think this is a more complete show than Hanako-kun.
But it definitely has the same vibe, the same supernatural vibe in that. So
Yeah, Hanako-kun again feels definitely much younger. Like the audience is a younger audience for sure.
And then just going through Annie List's recommendations.
Yeah,
just
I did see one there that's a definite one that I would also say.
Made in Abyss is one.
Yes, that was the one.
Yeah, an interesting one on here, Land of the Lustrous, which I can see kind of.
I can see that.
Yeah,
kind of this weird like world outside of the world.
What's going on sort of thing.
Tengoku Daimakyo.
Heavenly Delusion. Yeah.
Heavenly Delusion. Yeah, that's an interesting one too. I could see that. Very similar to Promised Neverland, I would say. Yeah. Very close to each other. Mysteries abound. Those were the ones
rendering too, I'd say.
Summertime rendering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those would be the ones that like really stood out to me as ones that I would also say are similar. Final thoughts, recommendations, or final thoughts. Jay, help me.
This show is great. I love the plot. I love the characters. I love this world. I'm so interested in it. This was the easiest watch for me. And if you had any interest in the shows that we just talked about, definitely check it out. It's such an interesting show that made me think I knew what was going on, and then it just completely flipped the script, and I didn't know what was going on in the best way possible. If it wasn't clear, this show definitely tickled my jimmies.
Okay.
Nice. Jimmy's tickled. Mike, how are your jimmies doing?
My jimmies. Well, I would say I'm definitely cooler on this show, I think, than Jay. I feel like I really enjoyed it. It's an easy watch. All the characters are super memorable and interesting. The art style is cool. The plot is interesting, and it's like a deep enough. I love a mystery too, so it definitely tickled those parts of my jimmies for sure. The only thing is, I just found that like it's paced kind of weird. I don't know. It just kind of like, I felt like at points it goes really quick, and then all of a sudden you're in another arc that's kind of just like, it just felt disjointed to me at times. And that kind of took away from my enjoyment a little bit. And it didn't hurt it a lot. And I just felt like it didn't do anything to really wow me at any point. I felt like it's just kind of like Cole said to me recently, like a popcorn fuel type of thing, where like you're just watching. There's not a lot to deeply analyze here, really. You're kind of just like along for the ride. And for that reason, I would give it a tickle my jimmies. It's funny because I sounded so much more critical than Jay, but like it tickled my jimmies. And I feel like that's the truest way to put it. It's like a solid like 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10. It's for sure in the upper tier, but it's definitely not touching the echelon of the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for me, I think that there is so much good in this show. Yeah, I know what Mike means in like a macro pacing type of way. Like when you look at big picture, it's kind of weird. Like one arc lasts 2 episodes, then we get another arc that's like 7, then we get another one that's 3. It's very like, some arcs are very long, some are short. It's kind of strange. In a more micro sense, though, I think each episode is paced really well, and it does such a good job of hooking you in and making you want to watch the next episode.
I would agree with that.
And that makes it like so easy to binge. This would be a tough one, I think, watching it weekly, to be honest. Because here's my argument for like watching a show like this weekly. You get excited, you watch it. You get a cliffhanger, and then you get disappointed because you got to wait a week, and then you don't want to watch the next episode because you know that it's just going to be that again this week, and then you end up not watching it, and then you binge it at the end of the season anyway. Great binge.
I feel like this one's definitely a better binge than a seasonal for sure.
Yeah. Great character designs, great voice acting. I love the fashion in this, the Victorian style fashion. I love like I said, the palace intrigue aspect of it. You want to see what happens next. I want to watch season 2.
Yeah.
It's all available. I think it aired last season, so.
Yeah, I don't know if it's quite at certified, AniPro certified, but it's definitely tickling my jimmies. Definitely. I could see in like after it's marinated after a little while, maybe at the end of the year when we go through our reviews again, maybe I'll change it. But right now, tickles my jimmies.
Nice.
Yeah. Good show. Yeah. Very good show. Check it out. I would say.
I was wildly wrong, by the way. The season 2 aired in 2022. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
It's okay. It's okay. You just had a child, Mike. We'll forgive you.
Yeah.
We'll forgive you.
Because he's an excuse forever now. It's good.
Exactly. One moment, please. I have something to play for you guys. Hopefully it actually does play.
It's been a while since we've heard this one, too.
It's time for spoilers.
Wee woo. Spoiler time. Spoilers. Stop now if you don't want to hear spoilers, because I'm about to drop the biggest spoiler on you.
Like a deuce.
Like a big dookie in my pants. No, I just want to talk about the music scene. I made a note of it. It's the scene where Emilico is like brainwashed, and Kate goes into her room and she's like looking for clues about her. And
that's what I thought.
Yeah, for me, the music should have been a little bit more like ominous, as opposed to like, I don't like, it comes off as like a child looking for the clue.
I think when Mike said that was a choice, I think that he's correct on that.
Could be.
And it seemed to me more like Kate just had no idea what was going on. So she was just, kind of searching her room to see what she had Emilico had written down.
I think those are good explanations. I refute them and refuse to accept them. But
until you know what, Cole, didn't you suggest that? That was why?
No, you did.
Oh. No, I was trying to play a game where it makes your thoughts.
Not this
so you
time.
think it's a good one. Okay.
Not this time.
Anyway. I feel like the biggest spoiler here to talk about is like, did anyone see that the shadows are parasites that feed on humans coming?
No.
Right? That was kind of a Deus Ex Machina moment. It felt that's way more than I ever expected.
You get the sense that like there's more to the living dolls. Like you kind of understand that, okay, no, they're people.
They're people.
Yeah.
But like that kind of still leaves like what the shadow people are. And it's interesting. Like, okay, they're parasites, but now that opens up like a whole other door. It's like, where are these parasites from? What are they doing?
They talked about like how there's a whole village outside and like the people are so excited when they go into the Shadow's house. Like, how did that start? When did the house come from? Where did it come from?
And it's funny because we basically, and this is kind of going back to like my saying it was paced funny, because like basically everything we know about the world is all in one episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's literally one episode reveals everything. And then they're like, okay, back. We're not exposing anything anymore.
But I feel like at the same time, if you look at everything, it makes sense. It's not like it's just a complete left turn.
Oh, it does. Like the way at the beginning there, how Emilico was all bubbly and stuff. It's because she was brainwashed, right?
Yeah.
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 The thing I talked about with the shadows, I thought that they were like their literal shadows manifested. So like I was looking at their shadows being like, okay, do they have a shadow there? And sometimes they didn't. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm onto something. And then like other times there would be a shadow there and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not onto something. So I was like, is this just an oversight on Cloverworks' part or is this intentional? And then it revealed that like they're just parasites, like fairies that turn into.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah. So like I still don't know, like, was it a red herring or was it Cloverworks or?
I think probably in this one, Occam's razor would suggest that just Cloverworks got a little lazy with the shadows.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have to sit down and look at the scenes that you're talking about and see where the light sources are in these specific rooms.
Well, that's what I was trying to pay attention to. Like, okay, where's the light source here? What like I was paying so much attention.
Yeah,
I was paying so much attention to the shadows. Ironically, in this house.
I was just gonna say he pulls out a protractor. He's got it up on his TV screen.
It's like, hang on, he stabs it into his TV. He's like, God,
this is wrong. Okay, next thing that I wanted to bring up, specifically that's on my list. Shirley and Rum. Oh, poor Shirley. Oh, I felt
probably
so
the most
bad.
impactful scene in this anime, I would say.
Oh, and they talk about how like Shirley doesn't like emit soot. And then at the very end, she just like emits it from everywhere. It's so like heartbreaking.
She just crumbles. Like, she's gone.
Yeah. In that, until a moment later on where this little dude is running around.
I thought that was Rummy, and it was turned out that Rummy was like a shadow all along. Like the thing that was tied to her was a shadow all along.
That's how I took that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I took it as like she is like hiding, kind of. Whatever.
Okay.
Either way.
So like obviously I feel like the natural jump is that Rummy is really actually Rum's partner.
Shadow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. The mystery is
from three people who haven't watched season 2. That's my prediction. Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless.
And I thought, and that's kind of why I said like I feel like Rum will be better in season 2 because we just seen.
Yeah. And they just kind of tease it at the end there a little bit too.
Yeah, they say like Rum will continue to be a character, I'm sure, because they say like she'll become one of the veiled dolls.
And I thought that was a cool reveal. How like all the veiled dolls are failed. Face. Yeah.
Faces. Yeah.
Living
I'll be
dolls.
real with you. That one I did guess.
Okay.
That one I did. I kind of knew that at the beginning. I'm like, I bet you they're just like the failed dolls or something.
Well, to be honest, at the beginning, I thought, there were like failed dolls, but like more in the sense that like when they created them, they screwed up or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Not that they're like.
Just I thought. Take. Yeah.
I thought when the dolls fail the what was it called?
The debut.
The debut. I thought when they failed the debut, they just killed them.
That's what I thought too.
But apparently they don't. They
repurpose them.
They repurpose them into veiled dolls, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, these are a bunch of slaves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up. Child slaves.
And
basically.
it's also messed up that like the parents are so excited that they're sending them away to this house.
Yeah.
Well, they're all brainwashed is kind of what I get.
Yeah.
Did they mention something about like granddad basically like his fault? Because his smoke was white, right?
Oh, I think it was black.
Was it black? Because the whole town's like enveloped in this smoke, and I feel like they meant that his was like kind of a white color, and I think that hit the whole town is like under his spell, sort of. But I could be wrong.
They're under his spell.
Remember, I'm watching this with this can of soup in my brain right now, so it's.
What I got was like they bring them down like coals, like soot coals.
Yeah,
and then they burn them, and then that brainwashes the towns.
Oh, okay,
that's what I got.
That could be it.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously, Granddad's like coals, his power, or his soot power, brainwashes people, which is also what Luis's was.
Interesting.
We're
like I said, it's kind
crafting.
I feel like this show it's pretty good, but it's just like these things are kind of a little on the nose, a lot of it, or just like like the whole Parasite thing was kind of an ass pull. Like it just felt like it just kind of came out of nowhere.
I disagree.
So. Okay.
I thought it came out of nowhere in the best way.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't expecting that at all.
But they didn't really to that point. I don't feel like they teased it enough or as obviously that you would have guessed that ever is what I would say. They did set it up.
Everything's there.
Yeah,
everything is there.
It didn't feel like an ass pull
a bit better.
It didn't feel in the like an ass pull in the sense that like they're like ghosts or something and they walk through walls or something like that. Like everything they do makes sense for what like
it's all coherent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying that it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They didn't foreshadow it or anything. They just kind of, hey, foreshadow, Shadow's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
It's a nitpick, though.
I mean,
it's a nitpick.
Yeah.
You say that, but like maybe you just weren't paying attention to it at the time.
You're right. I'm not smart enough.
Maybe your brain's too smooth, Michael.
It's too smooth brain.
Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, on a first watch, you don't pay attention to everything going on before reveal.
No, definitely not.
Right?
No.
So, like...
Yeah, and I would say, like, if you go back and watch it, I don't think that there's anything that, like, doesn't
line up.
Doesn't line up. I think everything does. So...
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a well-written mystery. Like, everything makes sense. Everything is...
And I think we're only at like, the beginning. Like I said, like, this felt like a prologue.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
it definitely does. Was there
I'm
any other...
the manga next.
Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to say was Ricky and his, like, growth. Like, at the end, he kind of, like, accepts his demise when that boulder's coming towards him, and he cares about is like making sure that Patrick is like, make sure you take care of Patrick. It's such a good scene.
That was one critique I had about the whole thing when they were brainwashed near the end. Kate had to make Emilico drink water until she spit it all out.
Yeah.
And like, okay, fine, right? Like that, sure. And then Sean and John had like a punching match until he woke up.
And then it's like, okay,
whatever.
Okay.
Sure. And then Ricky was just told like, hey, wake up. And then he woke up. And I'm like, okay, that's where I draw the line.
The only thing to refute that is like, it's established at the start of the show that they're brainwashed and it just wears off as well. So
yeah,
I guess over time it just wears off too. And they're not I think they're supposed to be drinking that coffee like constantly.
Regularly.
I would like to see that. Like if they showed that like they're choosing not to drink this coffee for some reason and that's why they're becoming unbrainwashed.
Could be.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Or maybe people are more resistant.
I thought that the soot thing was well established though. Like that was interesting.
Yeah.
There's still mysteries to the soot though. Like
but I mean in terms of like how the brainwashing works because of how like the one girl, I forget her name, but she was kind of affected by the soot early on, and they had to give her a ton of water to get it out of her.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how Kate figured out to do that to Emilico.
There is that one soot scene where like Kate gets super duper mad at Emilico and like all of the soot sticks to the roof in like a stalagmite type thing. And then it falls down when she's not mad anymore. I would have liked to maybe had that been explained more. Like I get that it's tied to her emotions, but like there's something to it. Because like when she's reading the instructions, she says like, "Dude, like there's something she can't read." I just felt like that was kind of a Chekhov's gun. I would have liked that. Like
there's a few things in this show that definitely get shown but not explained.
But like Jay was about to say, this is just season 1.
Yeah, there is more
explained in the future. Yeah. Ultimately, I think we all liked this show, though.
I'd agree. Yeah. Yep.
Some of us more than others. How did Ray feel about it?
The cat who's on the screen on the YouTube video, she felt neutral about it. Yeah. Didn't like the shadows. They're too creepy.
Yeah. Too creepy. Yeah. Have you ever seen a shadow person?
No.
You and I both did.
No, that was someone broke into your house.
That was nobody broke into my house, Mike. Stop coping. We saw shadow people.
We didn't see shadow people.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to say, but I'll let you guys, if you got something to say, now's your time.
I'm also complete.
I think we kind of exhausted our resources on plot.
Oh, I am complete. I am complete. Well, then, thank you for listening to this review. Let me just say that we have more reviews coming up. Next time we review something is going to be Mike's manga. Mike, what manga are you forcing me to read this time?
Next thing we will be reading is Witch Hat Atelier. It'll be chapters 1 to 17, or the first 3 volumes. And that'll come out soon.
Did you just throw your cat on the ground?
No, the cat just slipped off my leg and kind of hit the desk a little bit. That's okay. That's on her. She's embarrassed right now. She's fine. She's fine.
Yeah. And then the next anime we're reviewing will be Panty and Stalking, which is also Mike's choice. Hey. I'm looking forward to both of those. Now, what I'm not looking forward to will be my review, my television program review, which is coming up after Panty and Stalking, Berserk 2016. Well, I am looking forward to it in the worst way.
And then you know what, Cole? It'll be a fun ride.
It'll be a fun ride. And then, of course, our listener's choice, which, just to review, we've got Haikyuu, Free,
Yuri on
Ice, and Jay's show.
Chihaya Furu.
Thank you. We haven't written them down yet. What does that say? That Mike remembered that and I didn't. I have no excuses. I didn't have a child. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to another episode of AniPro. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend all about us. It helps us out. If you really like us, why don't you consider supporting us on Patreon like these lovely people? Mr. Family Guy 36, Elijah Wood, Brain Dead B-Dog. What was the new name for this individual?
Nina Tucker, Best Waifu. I think
that's right. That's right. Peach, Frama, Kratos, Just Juz, Mog, Free Ren's Feet, Antonio Bustos, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a new patron, Wee Woo, Big Wee Woos.
Huge Wee Woo.
Yeah, Uncle of Light. Thank you all so much for supporting us on Patreon. You get access to all sorts of perks, and it really helps out the show if you support us there. So why don't you consider doing it? We're also on social media at AniProPod, and please join our Discord community to keep up with us and other listeners. Links to everything is in the description or on our website, AniProPod.com. Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of us not recording for weeks, for literal weeks, I will take the reins here on this closing. Yeah. So, in conclusion, thank you for attending my podcast. We say at the end, as we do at the end of every episode of the Anime Protagonist Podcast, or AniPro, if you want to be like casual about it, you know.
Yeah, like one of the, like in on it a little bit.
Yeah. We're all friends here, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the cool kids, you know.
Yeah.
Come to the cool kids table.
That's right.
Yeah, come to the cool kids table,
s'mores.
aka Discord. Anyway, bye-bye.
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 And what, Mike?
Oh, I was just going to say, and Mike's Hard Lemonades Jay's going to share.
Oh, yeah, Jay brought enough for the class.
Yeah.
Those are for me.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
Selfish.
Okay, well, bye-bye, Jay.
Oh, well, I'll just leave then, I guess.
Okay. Can you say bye-bye, though?
I did.
No, say it again.
Yeah, one more time.
Bye-bye.
バイバイ。